This is One Fat Boy, and here are my NBA game predictions for February 11th of 2022. Tonight there is 7 games. I'll be going over these spreads and over-unders for each of them. For Cleveland at Indiana, I'll be going with Cleveland minus 5.5. So with the trade that Indiana did over the trade deadline, I think the pieces will be playable tonight, but even with that, I think Cleveland should still win, as you have to associate, like, they have Tyrese Halliburton, who's decent, but he has to get used to their system of play. And I think Indiana's just at a slight disadvantage in that case, so Cleveland should come out with a win. They've been playing very well all season, so I just expect Cleveland to win this game without a hitch and even cover the 5.5 spread. We'll be going over 216.5, as I think Indiana doesn't have like the size anymore or as much to deal with Cleveland and how big they are, so expect Cleveland to dominate on the inside, get easy baskets that way. Then Indiana, they still have like all the players that can light it up except for LeVert, who just happens to be on Cleveland now. So that's just another boost for Cleveland to win this game, but I think there's enough scoring on Indiana to have this to be an over 216.5 type of game. For the Thunder at the Sixers, we go with OKC plus 13. As for one, I don't like to bet on spreads where a team wins by like 10 or more. So this is just like another one of those games where the Thunder just go to Philadelphia, compete, like they got nothing to lose. That should keep them in the game. Like just grab all the loose balls. That's enough to keep you at least close, because you get just more shots. And if you're shooting more shots, you're just bound to make a few more. So hence why I'm going with OKC plus 13, but I still expect the Sixers to win, as they're the better team. They got to prove they're the top dog in the East. And with that new trade, and Harden, I think he's still injured, but when you get traded, you get healed faster. Just rub some icy house on yourself, you should be good to go. But Sixers should come out with a win. Mostly due to the fact that Embiid will probably backpack them. And also Harris should have a decent game too, just because they're going to have to rely more on him, as they just sent away Curry. And that's just more of a role pushed on like Embiid and Harris. I will be going under 219.5, as the Thunder, they don't score a whole lot. Yeah, just because like young team, and Philadelphia's defense will affect them. But also the Thunder play good defense too, so expect the Sixers to struggle at some points in the game, just from the energy on the Thunder. So hence why I'm going under 219.5. For Charlotte at Detroit, I'm going with Charlotte minus 6.5. If Detroit played last night, so at disadvantage towards them. Then Charlotte, if they get going, if they get hot, I don't think the Pistons will come back from that. So as long as the Hornets go on a big run in the first half or early in the second half, I don't think Detroit will fight back and get it within like 6.5. But lean towards Charlotte winning this game. I will be going over 222.5, as Detroit's defense shouldn't slow down the Charlotte offense, because if they start hitting threes and like the earlier it starts, it's going to be hard to really slow down Charlotte. And then for Detroit, the only way that they'll win is if Charlotte goes cold. And the way Detroit's been playing has just kind of been here or there. If the game's close, they might sneak a win, but they're not blowing any team away. And Charlotte, they've done that a few times this year where they blow out a team, so I expect Charlotte to come out and do that. And they also have to fight for a spot in the Eastern Conference, so important game to win for them. For Denver at Boston, so personally, I won't bet the spread on this game, as you don't know which team's going to show up for either of these. But with Boston playing very well as late, they're one of the hotter teams in the league. I expect them to win this game and even maybe cover that 4.5 spread if they can deal with Jokic and slowing down the role players for the Nuggets. Boston should come out with a win. I expect Tatum and Brown to really just power the Celtics towards the win. And they're also playing in Boston, so another boost towards them for winning. I will be going over 218.5, as I expect Jokic to still find a way to get his team involved, score, because he is an MVP candidate for sure this year. And then I don't expect Denver's defense to really slow down Boston. The way Boston is playing, it's they shouldn't be scoring under 100 points. They'll probably still hit that 110 to 115 range. And Denver, they've also been playing decent, so they should be over 100 too. So hence why I'm going over 218.5. For the Spurs at Atlanta, I'm going to lean with San Antonio +8, but I think the Hawks should still win. But the game is close the whole time through. That means it's be a high-scoring game because Atlanta's defense is better, and I'll expect San Antonio's defense to slow Atlanta. But if the Spurs figure out how Atlanta's playing defense, that means both teams are going to be scoring a lot. And if that happens, that means San Antonio is going to be close. It's going to be a very high-scoring game. Hence why I put over 229.5. So I do expect, because San Antonio, they do play their first 3 quarters well, but it's just they fall apart in the fourth quarter. And as long as they can just keep it together in the fourth quarter, at least play half of it well, they should stay within that +8, and they should be able to keep up the scoring from Atlanta. Expect a good amount of assists and then a good amount of pointers made in this game. For Minnesota at the Bulls, I'll be going with Minnesota +4. So I'm sure Minnesota wants to redeem themselves after losing to the Kings. And just the way they play, it should be able to hinder how the Bulls play, as they have good defense on the wings, and a lot of the Bulls' defense does come from the wings. So as long as DeRozan and Levine are getting harassed by the Wolves, they're going to have a hard time scoring. But Levine and DeRozan did have good games against the Suns, who do have good wing defenders. So if you don't think that Minnesota will be able to slow down the Bulls, just bet on the Bulls to win. But personally, I think Minnesota, they've been playing well. They're going to keep this game close. Maybe not win, but at least keep it close. I think this should be a close game, very high scoring, as every Minnesota game is. And lately, a lot of Bulls games have been high scoring, so hence I'm going over 228.5. Just high scoring game in this one. For the Magic at the Jazz, going with Magic +12. Jazz are very sporadic, but with Mitchell and Gobert back, they should win this no problem. It's just covering the 12-point spread. That might be a little too steep, and if Orlando, they get going from the outside, that'll keep them in the game, which that's what I'm going to bet on. Is just that Orlando, their offense will be playing well enough that it'll keep them within 12 points. Utah, with their injuries and just how they've been playing, it's just been up and down. It's safe enough to bet them for a win, but it's probably safer just to bet Orlando +15 rather than a Jazz win. I will be going over 218.5, as once again, if Orlando does keep it close, it will because they're scoring the ball well, and then Utah, they shouldn't have a problem scoring the ball. It's what's the main defense for the Magic? There's a reason why they're towards the bottom of the league. So hence why I'm going over 218.5. Thank you for watching. Leave any of your player props or any spreads or over-unders that you would choose in the comments. And once again, thanks for watching.